Hello everyone and welcome to another recipe, and today we are making a dinner recipe. Something that's super quick and simple, easy to make, and super delicious. Definitely say that this is one of my top favorite recipes. I don't make it all the time, but when I do, it's so delicious and my family loves it. It's going to be a dairy-free vegan creamy mushroom pasta. I'm going to be using penne noodles today, but you can use fettuccine, whatever you like. I was debating, I was like, fettuccine would be really good with this, but I really love penne. So it's just a few ingredients here. If you're not vegan or dairy free, you can definitely just use heavy cream or milk. I will talk you through the process and let you know, as well as all of the instructions with measurements and details will be on my website, vickeats.com, as always. So if you're looking for a recipe, definitely check that out. So with any good recipe, we have to prep. So I have 2 onions here. You could either use 1 or 2. I'm going to do 2. I'm going to dice them. I have some garlic. I like to say measure with your heart. More garlic, the better. I have 5 cloves. I'm going to mince that. I have some cremini mushrooms that I'm going to slice. I think cremini mushrooms have just a little bit more flavor than regular white mushrooms. I love cremini. They're delicious. And then I have some parsley that I'm going to chop up for garnish. So I'm just going to dice the onion. Behind me, I already have a pot going with salted water and a pan that we're going to use to saute and do the sauce and brown the mushrooms. You just want to do, it doesn't have to be a fine dice, just a regular dice, so it's easy to saute. The garlic all peeled. I hate peeling garlic. It is terrible, but anyways, I'm just going to use a grater to grate the garlic, make it a lot easier than chopping it. Is going to be slicing the mushrooms. As you grab your mushrooms, if you see there's any pieces of dirt or extra pieces, just wipe them off with a paper towel. I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of controversy in the cooking community. People say wash your mushrooms, some people say don't. I don't, because I'm going to show you how to do a dry heat method, which brings out the flavor of the mushrooms. So I just like to use a little paper towel and just wipe them off. When I add the water and then I add them to the pan, it kind of ruins the mushrooms and they become mushy, and that's not what I'm going for. So I usually just wipe them like this. Whatever you want. I wipe down the mushrooms so they don't have tons of dirt on them. And now we're just going to slice them just like this. Oh, they look so pretty. I love cremini mushrooms because I love the brown on the outside and the middle is white. It's so cute. I don't know. They're one of my favorite mushrooms. Another mushroom I really like that is really good in pasta is button mushrooms, because you don't even have to cut them. They're super small and you just saute them right in the sauce and they're so good. I obviously like all mushrooms, but white mushrooms, I like them and I eat them often. I just think that they have the least amount of flavor. Next, we're just gonna chop up some parsley. Okay, now that we have all the veggies chopped up, the next step is to actually blend the cashews to make the cashew cream. If you're going to be using heavy cream or milk and you're not going to be using the cashews, just skip this step and skip to the sauteing part, but we're going to be doing this. So right here I have 1 cup of cashews. They've grown overnight and they've absorbed all the liquid. I soaked them overnight before I went to bed. I would recommend soaking them at least 4 hours before making this recipe. Actually, another quick tip, if you don't have time to soak them, something I learned is you can just take your cup of cashews, add them to a pot with water, and boil them for 15 minutes. They will be hot, but they absorb the liquid a lot faster if you're in a pinch. So yeah, we're just going to be adding them to my blender, covering them with water, and then blending. And my hands are clean, so that's why I'm touching them. Covered them with a little bit more water, just so they blend a little bit easier, but that's all you're gonna do. Water and cashews, and then perfect. I don't know if you guys can see that, but okay, now we have all the ingredients, so we are ready to saute and start making this recipe. Okay, I have the pan on medium high heat, and I've added my oil, and now I'm going to add my onions, and I'm going to start sauteing that. Okay, after about 1 minute, they'll become translucent and start to become super fragrant, and then just add in your garlic. So you'll see that the onions and garlic have become soft and translucent, which means that they're sauteing nicely. So the next step is we're going to be adding our sliced mushrooms. So what we're doing, it's called a dry heat method. Yes and no-ish a little bit, because I've already added the onions and garlic, but we're not going to add salt to this. It's cooked and we want their liquids to come out so they're nice and dry, and then we'll add our salt after. The reason that we do this is because if we add our salt now, it draws out all the liquid and it becomes overly mushy and rubbery, and the mushrooms aren't great. I know a lot of people always say that they don't like mushrooms, and maybe that's part of the reason, is they haven't had properly sauteed mushrooms. So as you can see at the bottom of the pan, it's starting to pool liquid. That's actually a really good sign. That means that the mushrooms are drying out their moisture, and it'll be easier for them to become brown. So just keep going until all the moisture is gone. It is boiling. Add in your pasta of choice and cook until al dente. Make sure to save about 1 cup or so of the pasta water. At this point, you will see that the mushrooms are starting to stick to the bottom of the pan, which means that the liquid has been drawn out and they're starting to brown. This is the time that you're gonna add your cashew cream. So go ahead and add that. You might have to use a spatula to scrape it, but add your cashew cream. Okay, at this point, we're gonna add 1 cup of broth. This is gonna help thin it out, so just give that a stir and let that meld together. I forgot to do this, but when the mushrooms are brown and it's stuck to the bottom of the pan, you're actually gonna add a little bit of white wine to deglaze it. I forgot, I'm just gonna add a little bit right now. Kind of like a 1/4 cup, not even, but that will help deglaze the pan. So just do it when the mushrooms are brown before you add the cashew cream. Adding our spices, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And if you're doing a non-dairy recipe, you can definitely add Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna be doing a little bit of nutritional yeast. I think it's about a 1/4 cup of that I'm adding. And continue to just give that a stir, and we're going to be adding our pasta and pasta water in just a minute, so it'll all thicken together. And bubbling for the last few minutes, I went ahead and I strained the pasta, so that is ready to be added in, as well as the pasta water. So we're gonna add our noodles, a little bit of pasta water just to start. This is gonna thicken. The pasta is quite al dente, so it's going to absorb as it goes, and this won't be as soupy. It will absorb. Give it 1 second. As you can see, it's absorbed quite a bit of the liquid. It's still pretty creamy. It will continue to absorb. I love this consistency right now. I think it's super creamy. The last thing we're gonna do is just add a little bit of lemon juice just to brighten it a bit, and just stir that one more time, and it's pretty much ready to go. Definitely taste it for seasoning, see if it needs any salt or pepper or whatever else that you want to add. And if it's the opposite and you've added maybe less broth than I did and it's too thick, add some broth, add some pasta water, add something to thicken it. It's going to thicken as it cools. But yeah, so this is all ready to go. Okay, and that is how you make dairy-free, vegan, creamy mushroom pasta. I love this pasta. I make it often. It's delicious. And I think it would make a great date night meal if you and your partner are dairy-free, or when you do eat dairy, you know, your stomach hurts afterwards. This would be a great alternative, just using cashew cream or even oat milk or something lighter than that. Adding the nutritional yeast really made it cheesy. Like, it added that cheesy flavor, kind of yeasty flavor that cheese kind of has. So I definitely recommend adding that if you're not going to be adding any dairy. And then the lemon juice just brightened it up a little bit. So let's try a bite on camera. This is what it looks like. It's gorgeous. It's so pretty. And like I said, all that liquid absorbed right into the pasta, making it the perfect consistency. So let's go ahead and try some. Cheers. It's so good. Oh my, I definitely think it has the right amount of flavor. We get garlicky and onion flavors. We add a little bit of that vegetable broth, which added more flavor to it. We browned the mushrooms, which also helped the creaminess from it. We added pasta water, so it's nice and thick. I love it. Adding the parsley on top is optional. This is a great weeknight meal. This is gonna make great leftovers for the next few days, so I don't have to cook every day. So it's gonna be great. As always, the full recipe with details and instructions is on viceats.com. So definitely check it out if you're wanting to recreate this recipe. And if you do, let me know how it goes. I'll most likely note this on my blog, but like if you're dairy free and you can't eat nuts, you could definitely use like silken tofu for this recipe or oat cream. I can definitely note that on my blog because I know some people can't eat nuts. I think cashew cream is the perfect base as a heavy cream. If you want to use heavy cream, go ahead. I just think it works the best because it's thick. And I know some vegan people may not like to eat so much cashews because it's high in fat. I understand that totally. I think that it's good fat, and eating this in moderation I don't think is a problem. So definitely use whatever you have on hand. But this is a great weeknight meal. This is a great date night meal for you and your partner. For sure. So if you have any recipe ideas that you want to give me, let me know and comment that below. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys try this recipe. Bye!